Tonight, breaking news, dangerous storms as millions head home from the holiday weekend. New tornadoes as the watch moves north, targeting cities. Chicago on alert after more than 200 reported tornadoes in a week. Heavy rain, giant hail, and the flood threat from rising rivers. Also breaking tonight, the growing Everest disaster. A second American climber has died after reaching the summit. 11 people lost this season. Is the crowding on the path to the summit putting climbers at risk? Deadly shark attack. The desperate attempt to save a swimmer attacked off a resort beach in Hawaii. The victim recently retired, a father and grandfather. His wife on the beach witnessing it all. Testing Trump, the president's historic visit to Japan, full of spectacle and controversy. Parting ways with his host and his own advisors. Praising North Korea's Kim Jong-un while bashing 2020 rival Joe Biden. Plus, some of the rescue teams that just located that yoga teacher trapped in a dense forest for 17 days, back out on another mission. New images from her amazing rescue, and now the new search for another missing hiker. And icon of the game, Bill Buckner, whose long Major League career was overshadowed by this play in a World Series game. How he's being remembered tonight, and the touching words from the player who hit that ball.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Memorial Day. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David. And we begin with a tornado threat on the move tonight. Tornado watches in 6 states and severe weather now targeting cities. Indianapolis, Des Moines, and Chicago all in the crosshairs. Travelers heading home on Chicago's Kennedy Expressway tonight, driving through the wind and the rain. A new tornado striking Charles City, Iowa today. You see it there. One of more than 200 reports in the past week. El Reno, Oklahoma, still reeling from a powerful EF3. 2 people killed there, dozens injured. And there are flood alerts in 6 states from Montana to Missouri tonight. These homes in Tulsa already underwater. The National Guard rescuing people stranded by high water in Barling, Arkansas. And tonight, 30 million Americans from Texas to Ohio are in the storm zone, and the system is now moving east. ABC's Alex Perez starts us off from Chicago.
Tonight, dangerous storms are striking as millions head home from the holiday weekend. Ping-pong ball-sized hail and tornado warnings near Chicago.
You can see where the rotation is. It's heading almost east-southeast right there.
In Iowa, the Floyd County Fairgrounds taking a direct hit by a twister there. More than 200 tornadoes reported since last Monday. An EF3 twister, winds of at least 136 miles per hour, tearing through El Reno Saturday night, claiming 2 lives. Our Rob Marciano is there.
The tornado coming from just over my right shoulder. That's the hotel that got hit. The second story ripped off. Thankfully, nobody hurt there. This is a construction crane or a radio tower. Honestly, so many things are demolished here, it's hard to identify them.
Oklahoma's governor touring the damage in El Reno today, taking a call from the president.
Pretty devastating. We've got 2 fatalities.
The state also facing historic flooding after up to 2 feet of rainfall this month. Floodwaters reaching the rooftops of homes, people like Carla Ashton and her boyfriend losing everything.
We have no idea. We don't know what we're going to do.
2 lock and dam operators are stranded by floodwaters. The Arkansas National Guard rescuing them by helicopter Sunday outside of Fort Smith.
And Alex Perez joins us now from a rainy Chicago. Alex, these storms continue through the night. Where are they headed next?
Well, Tom, take a look behind me. You can see those ominous clouds have basically swallowed up the skyline here. There is a tornado watch that includes all of us here in Chicago through tonight. And take a look at these storms tomorrow. Move to the northeast, and a separate system heads back into the southern plains, Oklahoma, Kansas, bracing for more torrential rain, high winds, hail, and possibly even more tornadoes. Tom, this outbreak is far from over. Tom?
Our teams will be tracking all those storms through the night. Alex, thank you. We do move on now to the other side of the earth. A second American climber has died this week after reaching the summit of Mount Everest. Chris Coolish is the 11th climber to die on that slope this season. His family says he died doing what he loved. Climbers have been warning about overcrowding. You can see it right there, a steady line of people heading towards the summit. Here's ABC's Clayton Sandell.
Chris Coolish watched his last sunrise from the top of the world, but the 62-year-old attorney from Boulder, Colorado, suddenly died today after heading down to camp. He is the second American and the 11th person to die during a climbing season proving both deadly and crowded.
We want to try and get ourselves up there when there's not too many people and the weather's good.
With only a narrow window of good weather and even narrower trails, log-jam climbers are forced to spend longer stretches in lethal so-called death zone conditions where oxygen tanks can run out.
See Camp 2 in the background.
British climber Robin Fisher died Saturday. Days earlier, he warned on Instagram, with a single route to the summit, delays caused by overcrowding could prove fatal. Nepal has issued a record number of climbing permits this season at $11,000 each. Those who don't survive, forever entombed on the mountain.
We saw a climber that had taken a fall, had obviously hit their head, lost their life, and that climber was fixed to the safety lines. And every single person that had to climb that night had to step over, that person's lifeless body. And it's horrific, it's devastating.
Experienced climbers tell us that while overcrowding is an issue, they are also seeing more unprepared, inexperienced climbers, and they can put their own lives and the lives of many others at risk. Tom?
Clayton Sandell with that new update from Mount Everest. Clayton, thank you. Now to Japan, President Trump's historic visit as the first foreign leader to meet the country's new emperor. The president and first lady welcome as guests of the emperor and empress at a lavish banquet inside the imperial palace. But the president also parted ways with his host, praising North Korea's Kim Jong-un and making light of his nuclear ambitions while also getting a dig-in against his 2020 rival, Joe Biden. ABC's Tara Palmieri is with the president in Tokyo.
Tonight, President Trump breaking with his own advisors and his host, the Japanese prime minister, by downplaying North Korea's recent missile tests.
You're not bothered at all by the small missiles?
No, I'm not. I am personally not.
Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, have both warned that North Korea's missile launches earlier this month violated a UN Security Council resolution. Trump standing shoulder to shoulder with Abe, publicly contradicting that.
My people think it could have been a violation, as you know. I view it differently. All I know is that there have been no nuclear tests. There have been no ballistic missiles going out. There have been no long-range missiles going out. And I think that someday we'll have a deal. I'm not in a rush.
President Trump also weighing a deal with Iran, just days after his administration ordered 1,500 additional troops into the Middle East.
We're not looking for regime change. I just want to make that clear. We're looking for no nuclear weapons.
The president's 4-day state visit to Japan has been marked with a spectacle.
As sumo grand champion, I hereby award you the United States President's Cup.
Presented an award to sumo wrestlers, took selfies with Abe on a golf course, and met with the new Japanese emperor, who Trump toasted with champagne. But while the trip was meant to show solidarity with Japan, the president sided with North Korea on another issue, praising Kim's attack on one of his Democratic rivals, former Vice President Joe Biden.
Kim Jong-un made a statement that Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He probably is, based on his record. I think I agree with him on that.
And Tara Palmieri joins us live tonight from Tokyo. And Tara, the 2020 election is still more than 17 months away, but it seems like President Trump has set his sights on one candidate in particular, even attacking him from as far away as Japan.
Tom, it's an unspoken rule that when you're abroad, you don't attack a political rival. But President Trump is back at it again tonight, tweeting about Vice President Joe Biden, calling him Sleepy Joe. As for the Biden camp, they've declined to comment. Tom?
Tara Palmieri reporting from Tokyo. Tara, thank you. Back here at home now to the new fears about sharks after a fatal attack in Hawaii. A California father and grandfather who had just retired was attacked while swimming in the waters off a Maui resort. Rescuers rushed him to a shore on a jet ski performing CPR, but they were unable to save him. All of it while the man's wife and witnesses watched from the beach. Here's ABC's Adrian Banker.
Tonight, vacationers are on edge after this horrific scene. Rescuers on jet skis work in vain to save a man killed in a vicious shark attack.
A report of a shark bite. The call still coming in.
Thomas Smiley, a father and grandfather to 6, had just retired, enjoying a vacation on Maui. He was swimming 60 yards off the coast when he was mauled Saturday. His wife on shore in utter panic.
As we were watching the man get pulled up, we could hear her screaming. She was saying, "That's my husband, that's my husband."
Witnesses say the shark inflicted some gruesome damage.
We could see that they were trying to do CPR on him, but as we got closer, I saw some blood. His entire left leg from his knee down was just missing.
Hawaii has already seen twice as many shark attacks this year than all of last year. This most recent case is the 16th U.S. shark attack and the first deadly one of 2019. While fatalities are rare, shark sightings are up. Last week, this great white was seen near New York. Cape Cod's fatal shark attack last summer was its first in 81 years. Officials are now installing new warning signs, EMT stations, and emergency phones on shore.
I think the public's starting to get their head wrapped around the fact that this is a pretty serious situation.
And Tom, authorities are looking into what type of shark may have killed Smiley. Experts say that the highest number of shark sightings are between July and October and in November. Tom?
Adrian, thank you. Next to the invisible threats on America's beaches, rip currents have claimed 2 lives just this holiday weekend, and 2 more swimmers are missing in waters where there were rip current warnings in place. ABC's Gio Benitez on what you need to know to stay safe.
Tonight, an alarming start to the summer beach season. 2 teens missing off beaches near Galveston, Texas since last night.
It looks bad, real bad.
Red flags flying today, the rip current danger so great, the beach patrol warning children not to go in past their ankles.
It looks like it's something that you shouldn't go into, even if you are a strong swimmer.
On North Carolina's Outer Banks Sunday,
I've got a body under the water.
a father of 3 drowned in a rip current, the 8th death there in just a week.
There's been too many drownings in the area just recently, and it's easily avoidable.
Rip currents form when waves break fiercely at the shore. A stream of water moving away from the beach then takes a swimmer with it. That's where the rip current is, so we're going in. To learn more, I swam into a rip current with the watchful eyes of Ocean Rescue in Fort Lauderdale.
It took just a few minutes to get out here, and now we're starting to feel it.
I intentionally swim against the current.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
When you have little kids, people that have never been to the ocean, that's where it becomes a problem. That's where we're making a lot of our rescues.
So, Tom, if you get caught in a rip current, don't panic. Just let it carry you out, then swim parallel to shore to get out of it. But most critically, make sure you're at a beach with a lifeguard on duty. Tom.
Such an important tip. All right, Gio, thank you. And Major League Baseball losing an icon tonight. Bill Buckner died today after a struggle with dementia. There was a moment of silence at Fenway Park before the game tonight for the former Red Sox player. But Buckner's relationship with the fans there in Boston complicated, all because of one play that haunted Buckner his whole life. Tonight, how he moved on and what he meant to the game. Shea Stadium, Game 6 of the 1986 World Series, a play that no one would forget.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
First baseman Bill Buckner missing that ball. Even more torturous, he said this in an interview less than 3 weeks before the game.
The nightmares are that you're going to let the winning run score on a ground ball through your legs. So.
And for a time, the nightmare would not end for Buckner. Heckled, harassed, even death threats. Red Sox fans unfairly blaming him for losing that World Series.
Most of the time when it's shown on TV, which I see at least once or twice a week for 23 years. When it comes on the TV, I switch the station.
Imagine one mistake defining your whole life. But Buckner pushed on, playing 4 more seasons.
Please welcome back to Boston, number 6, Bill Buckner.
And in 2008, he returned to the city that shunned him, invited to throw out the first pitch, the cheers bringing a tear to his eye. And later in life,
Bill Buckner. Yeah.
Even able to poke fun at himself. In a classic episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Buckner saving the day when he catches a baby from a burning building.
Nice catch, Bill!
And tonight, Mookie Wilson, the Mets batter on the other side of that play, saying Bill was a great, great baseball player whose legacy should not be defined by one play. For a man who had such a complicated relationship with the public, he had a simple request for his legacy.
Hopefully it's Bill Buckner in the 86 World Series, but he was a pretty good player. Leave it at that.
And Buckner's wife issuing this statement tonight, saying he had fought with courage and grit as he did all things in life. Bill Buckner was 69 years old. Back now with a new search on the same island where that yoga teacher was just rescued. Some of the search teams that located her are now looking for another missing hiker. ABC's Marcus Moore is there.
Tonight, for the first time, we are seeing Amanda Eller touching down in a chopper after that miracle rescue, offering to walk on her fractured leg.
Walk if I need to.
No, you don't need to walk. You walked enough, haven't you? Oh my God, it's so nice to see you.
For 17 days, the yoga instructor and physical therapist survived on berries, guava, and insects, reportedly even spending one night in the den of a wild boar. She was burnt and blistered, but she was alive.
People that know me, people that don't know me, all came together just under the idea of helping one person make it out of the woods alive.
We found her, guys! Those pilots running low on gas when they spotted Amanda from the air, wedged in a ravine between two waterfalls, her friend Javier rappelling down.
And I'm like, do you recognize this voice? And she goes, Javier? It's like, you damn right it is. I've been searching for you for 16 days.
The chopper scooping her to safety in this basket. How much of a miracle it was that you all actually spotted her?
100%, bruh. 100%.
Tonight, some of those same rescuers who brought Amanda home are hoping to make another rescue. This time for 35-year-old Noah Mena, who disappeared while hiking in rugged Maui terrain last week. And a team in a chopper just left a short time ago to continue the search for Noah. And we're talking about very difficult terrain. We've seen it firsthand here in Hawaii. And the pilots who used this chopper to find Amanda said that she was in an area that's almost impossible to reach, Tom, and that it's pure luck that they were able to find her.
Marcus Moore with that news search tonight. Marcus, thank you. And up next, time now for our index on the new jump in measles cases. The CDC reporting 60 new cases, hiking this year's total to 940. That's a 6.8 increase just last week across 26 states, the worst outbreak in a quarter century. And the new development in a terror bombing overseas, officials in France arresting a 24-year-old mass suspect, you see him there, wanted in Friday's package bomb attack, injuring at least 13 people outside of a cafe in Lyon. 3 other members of his family are now in custody. Back here at home, the chaos at a California high school. That campus put on lockdown in Stockton when about 80 students clashed with police who were questioning a student. One threw in a trash can at officers. Officials at Bear Creek High School say police were called in to help deal with an uncooperative student when matters escalated. And the moment playing out at a Big Ten semifinal game between Ohio State and Minnesota. Take a look, an adult spectator grabbing that foul ball from a much younger fan. The move drawing boos, but he held on to that ball. No worries, though, the youngster getting the last laugh. A ball signed by the entire Ohio State baseball team. All right, and when we come back on this Memorial Day, one special World War II vet we all owe so much to, finally getting his due at 95 years of age. In 1943, Joe Perry Coney was set to graduate from Hillsborough High School on the west coast of Florida. But the world was at war, and Joe answered the call.
A draft board said, you go and serve your country and be a big boy.
Fighting with the U.S. Army. That's Joe in the middle. At 19, he faced off with the Germans, wearing this dog tag through France, Belgium, Denmark, and the UK. Keeping him sane through all the misery, this handkerchief from his fiancée. She had the perfect name, Hope. When he returned, he would make her his wife. And what a life. War, romance, friendship. But there was one thing missing. Leaving for war meant no graduation, no diploma.
Finally, we would like to welcome a very special guest. Joe Perry Coney is a member of the Hillsborough High School class of 1943.
So this past weekend, 76 years later, Joe's life would take another amazing turn.
He was not able to receive his diploma in 1943.
Now came the time.
You ready, Mr. Perry Coney? Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 1943 and now the class of 2019, Joseph A. Perry Coney.
Joe getting his diploma in front of a crowd of people that owe him more than applause. Like so many of his generation, putting their country before themselves, and some still standing strong. And on this Memorial Day, we honor Joe and all veterans for their service and sacrifice. We thank you for watching. I'm Tom Yamas in New York. GMA, first thing in the morning. David Muir is right back here tomorrow night. Have a great evening. Good night.